What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 9 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Kairos Fateweaver Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we have pretty much destroyed the western provinces, with them down to 2 territories, with Mr. Zhao Ming already defeated, and, well, they have no hope to hang their hopes on. I got that didn't make any sense, but anyway, they did. Anyway, we just gotta wipe them out this episode. However, the ogres that were their allies that we have declared war upon, or we are in the process of fighting, are still very much running around out here, and we are going to still have to deal with them, and most likely with Thorak. We can't really leave him either to our vassal minions or to ourselves, but obviously the western provinces are the goal, because it's part of our victory objectives. And Daughters of the Forest and Western Provinces. Hopefully our minions can actually wipe out Daughters of the Forest for us, as once we find them, I'd love to send everybody over there. Anyway, while that is all great, the star of the show last episode was the Femir Matriarch Dregra, who just had a fantastic battle against a Cathayan force, including the Satang the Watcher. A very, very close fight, definitely the closest fight of the campaign so far, and I think that includes the fight against the Slanesh that Amon Chakai made his name fighting. Anyway, we'll see if we get you another battle or so before we let you go and return to your original faction, Dregra. What do we gotta do this particular turn? Vizier Fateblaze is besieging, unless I'm mistaken. Yes, you are. Amon Chakai, you're still moving. Drilla, Saga Zizarax, and Arvax Balefire. You guys, I mean, probably can start moving, actually, so let's put you in camp stance and start slowly but surely inching your way towards an enemy. Decent likelihood we'll be fighting the followers of Nagash shortly, but we could probably wipe out Wadi El Gutani and whoever's over here first. Also, while we're at it, let's reveal the shroud of the followers of Nagash, see how well they're doing. Pretty well. They're doing pretty well for themselves and have a lot of territory. Ooh, they are starting to get up to tier 4 and 5, and the good thing about that is that if we take those territories over, we can capture them at tier 3 and 4, which is quite nice. Though I'm going to miss the dwarfen ability to capture things and then get +2 population surplus, immediately allowing some territories to be upgraded to tier 5, which is just great in the late game. Anyway, we'll deal with these guys in a bit, but we'll put you on the menu first. I don't think we want to waste the changing of the ways, the tomes, the grimoires to identify you, because we're going to be over there shortly anyway. Anything else important here? Reveal Shroud, Force Peace, Halt Army, Trek Army, etc. Doesn't really look like it. Let's see. What do we have in terms of moving, other than... Well, you're supposed to follow this army, so you may as well move forward as well. Keep leeching that XP. Somebody suggested we essentially mark any lords that are, you know, destined to be evolved into exalted lords of change or to demon princes with a whatever, and I just put TBA by this guy, TBA being to be ascended, and then same with Mr. whatever your name was, Veritas Painbringer out here, who is to be ascended as well. They're on the path to either demonhood or, you know, proper demonhood. Arvax Balefire, you've moved. Rel and Co. I guess you guys don't need to move, so just keep channeling and doing what you're doing. Oh, you know what we maybe could do? Also, Karen Manticool, you're supposed to... just go over here. We don't really need you to scout. Go get ready to join these guys. What we need to do is pop off this. No, not Scriveners of Insanity, but Magic Flare. Yes, it will buff up our army, but the main thing that we want out of this is the Tzeentch Corruption +5 for all characters faction-wide, since we're in a bunch of new territories, and we need to corrupt them a little bit faster. So let's give this to Vizier Fateblaze. And it's for 5 turns as well, and he could use the extra little bit of power up against the undead, though he's been doing pretty good for himself. Anyway, the other thing is what? Scriveners of Insanity. I mean, we don't really need the construction time -2 for all buildings faction-wide, although getting this on cooldown constantly is nice as well, just by virtue of the fact that it's nice to get the bonus grimoires. I guess who is guaranteed to be fighting more? Probably not ambushing so much, but, you know, I'm gonna say you're pretty much guaranteed to be fighting Mr. Farmore Twillmaker, so let's do this for you. You can Scriveners of... Oh, you can't use it while besieging. Alright, I gotta remember... Oh, you have to be in enemy territory and not besieging. It's a really specific frickin'... I don't know why they did that limitation. It's kind of weird, but whatever. We'll put it on you later, then. Fair enough. Alrighty, and I believe that's all we gotta do. We did the building last episode, unless I'm mistaken, though I think City of Splinters is ready to go to Tier 5, which means I guess we can make you our first dimensional cascade at Tier 5. This will unlock also the Great Chaos Dragons. They're a little bit too rich for our blood right now. It's 700 gold per turn, but it is certainly something to think about. Anyway, get the dimensional cascade. I'm also still on the fence about whether we want to make Amon Shakai lead a full-on Air Force army, or do the sort of half Air Force, half Air Force, like use the Screamers as an anvil or a hammer, and then make a ground force as an anvil, as opposed to a full-on Air Force type army. I haven't decided yet. Amon Shakai does have to have a sort of Screamer-centric army, because he started with those Screamers, and I've been really enjoying them with him. And then... if we make an anvil with ground forces, we could keep more Screamers and then less other sort of flyers, so there's certainly potential for it. Anyway, for now, I guess we are okay. Let's skip the buildings, let's skip the cults, outposts, etc., and end the turn and see if anybody is willing to attack us. I believe there are 2, at least, potential attacks. Go. Alrighty, looks like the Addled Minds will indeed attack us in the field. They'll take one of our Forsaken from us, but, well, we will hopefully be able to deal with it. Ooh, they do have a lot of Fiends of Slanesh, and the Fascination Rampage-causing thing is going to be annoying to us, generally speaking. Fiends are at 40-40 melee attack and defense stats, though, eh? Kind of interesting. I'm just comparing them a little bit to the, not the Forsaken, the Chaos Spawn. Stat-wise, we've got a decent bit on them, but the problem here is that there's 24 of these guys for a similar amount of HP, meaning each Fiend has about twice as much HP as each unit of Chaos Spawn, which is interesting. There's also the Heart Seekers to be very, very concerned about, and hopefully we can snipe at least a few of them with some of those blue fires. Anyway, should be a fun fight. Away we go.
They think they have the power to stop us. Let us show them how wrong they are.
Alrighty, ooh, I like how there's a lot of things going up into the sky in the realm of Slanesh. I gotta take another look at the Tzeentch realm. It feels like all of the stuff there is a little bit closer to the ground, whereas this seems to be going up higher, which is kind of the opposite of what I would have expected for Slanesh versus Tzeentch. Still, loving these realms of chaos maps. It's been nice seeing them since, well, the realm, or the Chaos Realms version of the campaign doesn't get used much anymore. Anyway, here we go. I'm gonna start out by harassing the enemy army as much as they can, harrying them all the way to our own army, and we are deployed in a fairly decent position here. We have 2 of these weird Slaneshi, I don't know, spine cliffs that are impassable terrain. We're going to use this one and this one to protect our flanks. This will kind of screw over the Slaneshi because there's not much that they can do where they can't use their mobility, and if all they can do is crash directly into our battle line, it's gonna be a bad time. Anyway, as the enemy tries to move towards us, we open up an infernal gateway on top of a few of their units, heavily damaging at least some. Of course, that's only going to, well, bounce back remains in the enemy's favor. But slowly but surely, I'm sure it'll drop. Here come the Fiends of Slanesh. No choice but to smash directly into our lines with the Chaos Spawn, the Forsaken, and the Marauders that we have there already and waiting. I think one of the nice things about fighting the other Chaos Gods, both in their realms and just generally speaking, is that everybody has their own specific color schemes. Like, we're very heavy on the blue, for example. Makes it very nice and visible as to who's who in these particular battles. Anyway, enemy blob is in the Seekers and Heart Seekers, whatever we have here, are cycle charging best they can. The Demonettes and the... Ooh, look at those Marauders fly. The Demonettes and the Fiends of Slanesh are embroiled in the fight now. But we wish them luck. Alright, here comes the Trickster Shard in combination with the Soul Leech of Tzeentch, dishing out decent damage to everybody here. And now that the enemy is fully engaged, we've been saving it, we can now readily summon our blue horrors on the field, and either they can distract cycle charging units of Seekers, or they can fire into the back line of all those units attempting to make it through. If we were fighting another slower faction, obviously we'd be using our Forsaken Chaos Spawn differently and, you know, playing up their own mobility as they move at 52 speed, which is pretty darn solid. But again, against the Slaneshi, we have no hope of outrunning them, and thus we have to sort of fight as a regular mainline. The nice thing about this is that it means that this particular army will feel different in terms of how it plays later on in the campaign, as it faces off against different foes in Slanesh. I wasn't originally planning to send the Forsaken up against Slanesh, but it's been working fairly well. The massive pile of monstrous infantry is really countering the Slaneshi ability to charge in through your melee troops, as neither the chariots nor their massive piles of fiends or seekers are really able to take advantage of their speed or mass or charge. So it's a pretty solid counter. Alright, and it's funny, it's also funny that it's a solid counter considering we have effectively no melee defense, so you would think that the Slaneshi would to at least some degree thrive on that, as they have a very high melee attack and should be able to cut through our lines, but the Tzeentch barrier is keeping our units relatively healthy, and those units that lose their barrier or start losing some units are simply rotated out. We've got a few of the Chaos Spawns moving back or recharging their barrier now. And especially since some of them have lost a few models, we don't want that happening either. Ooh, Lash of Slanesh in the middle of our line. That's certainly a vulnerability that we have when we're in a blob like this. We do have 50% spell resistance, however, which is pretty darn solid. Funnily enough, Kairos only has 20% spell resistance. Maybe I should give him the Lichbone Pennant for spell resistance, because the magical attack isn't useful, in generally speaking, other than actually for this army, because the Chaos Spawn do physical damage, non-magical. Anyway, with that, the enemy army collapses, and the battle is ours. The one unit of Forsaken lost to the Labyrinth. We have effectively kept alive here by focusing everything but them, and we will chase down the running unit of devoted Marauders of Slanesh, but ignore and lost to the Labyrinth, and, well, hopefully they'll come back. I'm also pretty sure, now that I think about it, that the bonus Slaneshi corruption offers an increase to the Slaneshi budget for seduction, meaning while we're fighting in Slaneshi territory, the counter traits for the seduction are probably not doing too much, simply because of the bonuses acquired from the Slaneshi corruption. But anyway, just taking a look at all the grossness around here. Close victory. Alright, there we go, that went reasonably well. We were able to take out all the Slaneshi forces, leaving the one lost to the Labyrinth Forsaken unit intact, and hopefully it will return to us. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. This is actually going to be an interesting thing how the game decides this is supposed to look like, because this unit's supposed to return to us, but if all the units are destroyed out of a Salian garrison, then the territory should be occupied by us, so I'm not... Huh, okay, I guess we're about to see. Palace of Slanesh, occupy. And let's find out. Oh. Alrighty, there we go. Looks like the Cult of Mordig is back for more. They have, my lord, they have a lot of Graveguard here. The Vargheists are going to be annoying. Interestingly enough, they don't have bats this time. 4 Cairn Wraiths, however. The ability to close their distance is... not say going to be something of an issue for these guys. Nonetheless, this army has become almost specialized at defeating the slow-moving undead, and I don't imagine that the enemy will prove all much better here than they did in the past. Away you go, Vizier Fate plays. Alrighty, here we go. Let's see what the enemy's got, or more importantly, what we've got. Now, this is going to be a problem. This army is completely designed to fight for sort of a one-on-one army. Some armies are just designed that way, rather than two. The problem with fighting two armies is this is a run-and-gun army, and how are you going to run and gun when the enemy army is so big, it effectively spreads out across the entire map, and the AI cleverly, or, you know, automatically, sort of spreads their army out, meaning it's gonna be difficult to do any running and gunning. If I were to sort of replay this or reset this up, I would probably deploy our entire army to one side of the enemy army, try to break through their line, and then sort of separate our own army into various, going into various sides on the map. But it looks like that's not happening here since we deployed in the center, so we're just going to have to deal with not having anywhere to run. Anyway, we're gonna start the battle up by getting blue fires into both of the enemy Vargeists that are up here. We first fired 2 non-overcast regular blue fires at each of the different Vargeists, waiting for the enemy to counter them with an Invocation of Nehek. As soon as the Invocation of Nehek had dropped, we hit the other unit of Vargeist, which wasn't being healed, with another blue fires. The one that we kept waiting. And now this one we're going to try to knock out of the sky with just regular old fistfuls of flame. And the occasional blue fire as well. And, oh, we are too close, apparently. Really? This is too close? Oh, it doesn't feel like it's that close. Well, whatever. When you're too close, the magic missiles, the blue fire type magic missiles, become very, very unreliable, and most of them miss. In fact, that looked like maybe 1 or 2 hit, but the rest of them hit the ground. Let's double check it, and yeah, no dice. Alright, we're gonna have to back up before we do any of those again. Not a big deal. In the meantime, some of the enemy are charging us, the faster moving elements of the army, but that's perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. The more of the fast movers that charge us before the rest of the enemy army, the better. Gonna get a pink fires off through one of the enemy units of Karen Wraiths, which take heavy damage immediately. Karen Wraiths obviously super physically resistant, but for SFO stats have a relatively low HP. And it's not like the physical resistance would be helpful against our piles of horrors here. And down go the Karen Wraiths. Also, before I forget, while a little bit of sort of housekeeping, it's clear that Jiao Ming is nearly destroyed, and we're nearly done with Kairos where he currently is. So we have to figure out whether we send Kairos just to fight in the Empire, or whether we send Kairos to fight in the Realm of Khorne, and then, you know, later in the Empire. Well, maybe Empire, maybe Bretonnia. I haven't decided where exactly we want to put Kairos, but he can teleport to those cults of his, where he currently is. And it's certainly something we could do. I do still intend to put Eocold in the Empire, because that's Eocold's whole thing, and he has stats buffing his fighting against the Empire, and I do intend to put Kairos somewhere over there eventually, and we can put somebody else in the Realm of Khorne if we wanted to, but I'm not entirely sure. So, basically, I'm gonna have leave a comment down below with a vote. We will vote on where we send Kairos next. Do we send him to the Realm of Khorne, or do we send him to the Empire? As in, more or less, what order we do. Well, Empire or Bretonnia, wherever he ends up going, because Eocold is definitely going to the Empire. Oh, I could send some Beastmen to Ethel Loren if we wanted to. That's an option as well. But yeah, we can always send another army to the Realm of Khorne. It doesn't necessarily have to be Kairos's, so it's mostly going to be a vote on where you guys want to see Kairos fighting, whether you want to fight Bretonians and Imperial humans, or whether we want to keep fighting Monogod Chaos factions with him. Probably after he deals with Thoric at least a little bit, to some degree. So, vote down below, make your voices heard, and we'll figure it out over the, well, maybe I'll give it 2 episode time rather than 1 episode time to give people time to catch up and actually vote, rather than the ultra-quick 24-hour vote. But anyway, in the meantime, the enemy army is nearly here, and they're still far too numerous. We are sort of being corralled to the edge of the map, and we're going to try to have to book it on out of there before we get overrun. Again, kind of hard to run and gun when the enemy covers all of the ground in this particular battle. We are continuing to drop spells on the enemy as best we can, though we are getting chased down by things like Karen Wraiths, and yeah, is doing a good job staying on top of our unit here. Can't hit our own pink horrors. and thus we can't hit our own, or thus we can't hit the enemy Cairn Wraiths. So at the very least, these guys are melting away, so just keep on moving. And though these guys are taking a fair bit of damage now, gotta remember the pink horrors are pretty darn fragile. Anyway, just keep on backing up. We got a nice little caravan train of horrors. Trying to move to one side of the map so that they can maybe get around the enemy. Although as to whether this succeeds remains to be seen. On the bright side though, while we may not be attacking, the enemy is being forced to reposition itself, and we might be able to get at least a few nice spells off on the enemy. Oh, it looks like this poor cultist is stuck on those grave weapons. Grave weapons? That's not quite it, is it? Great weapon grave guard. Ooh, and it looks like the enemy lord has caught up to one of our pink horrors. I believe the one that was being chased by the Cairn Wraiths, we've actually withdrew off the field because it was taking heavy damage, and it's better than letting them melt away. And this way they will survive to live another day and maybe eventually, possibly, become exalted pink horrors instead. Keep dropping those spells down on the enemy below and keep backing off. And again, we have nowhere to run. The enemy has pushed us to the edge of the map, and all we can do is reposition, try to get a few more volleys off as best we can. That darn lord is also using another one of our units for cover. What this army really does need, now that I think about it, is a couple of tormentor swords. Ideally, if every single one of the horrors had a tormentor sword, and of course, eventually we have those cockatrices to slow the enemy down, it would make the army considerably stronger. Alright, it looks like the enemy lord has peeled away and gone after the blue horrors, which is much better because, well, we're not as afraid of losing them. Plus, we probably glean magic on them and keep them back. Looks like that Cairn Wraith unit is still sticking around, though not for long. There we go. Nice volley takes out the enemy lord for good. The balance of power is now in our favor, but the enemy still has so many Graveguard to deal with. Just going to have to hope that our spell work in combination with the pink horrors can hold the line. Alright, nice charge directly into the horrors. I'm sure the undead would like to take revenge for what we've been doing to their territories so far. We've been kicked out of Bel Aliad and have been forced to continuously back off. And ooh, looks like they have Face of Death available? Yes, they do. So they summon another unit of zombies right on top of our blue and pink horrors. Well, all we can do is hope that they can hold the line while the rest of the units staying behind them continue firing off shots. The enemy also, perhaps again, smartly, decided to, instead of just rushing us directly in a blob like this, send several units this way to prevent us from rushing this way. Clever. And a solid counter to what we're trying to do here. Anyway, Gehenna's Golden Hound's going to come down in the sort of in the way of the enemy, just trying to do that good old-fashioned sort of area denial. Blue Fire is going to keep hitting those enemy Cairn Wraiths as we try to gun them down or fire them down with our pink horrors. But the Cairn Wraiths look like they were able to use the shielded units as meat shields, as it were, or bone shields, whatever. And we're able to close the distance again, which ain't so great for the blue horrors, which are down to 40% of their HP, and we're probably going to try to have to back them off. The bright thing, the bright side, the good thing, the good aspect, good part of the being corralled to the edge of the map like this and being forced to fight where we have nowhere to run is that the units that actually want to run, as in to withdraw, are able to do so with ease instead of melting away. So there is that. Our numbers will surely, slowly but surely drop in that manner, but the enemies will as well, as they have to keep getting through each individual unit of horrors while taking pink fires and whatever other spells we have in store for those enemies. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor now, and though we are on the verge of being overrun, the enemy might no longer have enough units, enough of a critical mass of units to overrun our horrors. Weak as they are in melee. 27 melee defense, definitely not enough. Funnily enough, the horror army, the Cavalcade of Horrors army under the Blue Scribes will be a little bit more capable of holding the line because they're going to be led by a Sorcerer Lord who gives an additional, I believe, 32 armor and either 5 or 13 melee defense, I don't remember which it is, to the Horrors as well, which will make them a lot more capable in that regard. But that's why I said this is a run-and-gun army. It's just missing several elements that will enable that aspect of it. Or I should say a run-and-gun horror army. Yes, we could put in a few other things that would enable that sort of capability. We could put a couple of soul grinders in here, and we could put a couple of flamers in here. We could put the marauders with warp flame in here as well, which would actually help out in terms of the pink horrors not having warp flame. We do have banish on our exalted pink horrors, but it might be something to think about just to give them the additional little bit of damage buff. Anyway, with that, the battle is ours. All of the little disc riding horrors ran out of ammunition, but look pretty happy to have gone into melee for at least a little bit, considering their ultra low stats. Close fight. Ooh, there we go. Definitely a close fight there, and a really interesting one. Though we had nowhere to run at the end of the day, we were just able to manage to hold the enemy off. Obviously, this army isn't intended to fight in that manner yet, because we don't have sufficient exalted pink horrors who can actually sort of hold the line, at least for a little bit, unlike the blue and pink horrors regular being too fragile to face off against Cairn Wraiths and Graveguard and things like that. But we're working on it, we're getting there. This army will just be an underdog until it gets to that point. Besides, it's also not supposed to fight more than one army at once, and I mean, clearly it did here. Anyway, still a really nice fight, sort of might. Hopefully we can turn that into something more useful. Occupy the plate. Alright, casualties captured post-battle for far more Maker, good for you. Sort of might for Vizier Fate Blaze, but to be turned into... What do we have here, incidentally? We're keeping the Rod of Whimsies and the Glittering Scales. In fact, I gotta remember to put those on the... probably in the Forsaken army. Sword of Might and Relic Sword. Fuse it up. Into... another Crown of Command, you gotta be kidding me. We fused the last two we have. Oh, gotta get the other Fractured Clasp in the Forsaken army as well. Anyway, we'll deal with that in a bit. Burning Chariot for Vimor... whatever you... Slate Gaze? Alright, Disc of Tzeentch. I take it you all got Burning Chariots? No, just the one. Okay, fine, fair enough. Alrighty, wait. Disc of Tzeentch for Talagast. Okay, now we're good. There's that Glittering Scales. Another Chromatic Tome. Very nice find. And... oh, that's a question. And this army's fairly reliant on magic, so maybe we'll give one of you guys, Vizier Fate Blaze, the Chromatic Tome instead. Technically, I suppose this is probably something that should go to Mr. Makari's on the approach to Alrahim Dunes, eh? I like that. Don't know whether he can reach them or not. I have to figure that out. But anyway, enemy killed in battle, the mightiest fortress complete. Wow, barely any money. Oh, that's where the Chromatic Tome came from. Yeah, you know what? We'll give you the Chromatic Tome for now, I think. In theory, we want this to go to Mr. Amon Shakai, because Lords of Change, Exalted Lords of Change, should have those over horrors, but nonetheless. The other thing that we want to do is this, Cultist. You're in here for various reasons. One, to be able to summon units on field, since our guys can't do it. Two, to give mobility, and I believe there was another reason, which was Kindle Flame and Flaming Sword of Ruin. So, let's buff that up, and frankly, Cascading Fire Cloak is really nice as well. Flaming Sword of Ruin... I mean, I guess we could get Prismatic Plurality and try to get at least magical reserves for you. Although making the Flaming Sword of Ruin and the Cascading Fire Cloak cheaper is also really nice. Let's start with those, actually. Alrighty, you're gonna do that. Then the other thing we want is you to get the Rock of Inevitability to reduce enemy speed and stuff, and then get you the... Trickster Shard might be a decent option on you as well, but anyway, get you the... Glittering Scales. Debuff enemies that do actually manage to reach our line. You, Blue Horrors. Oh, you know what? We're not going to involve you because that might screw over your movement range. Now, we're basically just at the edge of the movement range to get to Al-Rahim Dunes, which means we might have to actually suffer attrition in order to get there. That's annoying. I mean, I guess we could avoid it by... wait. You can sacrifice all your mana for this, which also is not that great of an idea, admittedly. And they have a solid garrison there. What's the likelihood Nakari takes this? Well, we could risk him not taking it, and if he does, either trade him another settlement or something. Maybe we risk it. Alright, you leave the settlement, and if you encamp... Yeah, okay, there's no way you're reaching the place. And we can't lose the mana. Alright, so you know what? You're gonna channel, you're gonna suffer a turn of attrition, you're gonna move towards Al-Rahim Dunes, and we might stop Nakari in his tracks, potentially. We'll keep the control building for now, don't collect the income, but do build the Web of Secrets and the Hidden Library, and I suppose that we should probably bump the mana that we have in this particular location up now. Now, the mana in these places isn't super useful because they're not generating a ton of mana, or cash, rather. And also, at the same time, I would like to see what's going on here. So, Blizzard Vale, you can decrease the Winds of Magic. Crossroads of the World, you can decrease the Winds of Magic. And Mountains of Morn, you can decrease. And the rest of you, I think, are fine. At least for now. Then, we go back to that other place. Back and forth, then increase this location just for the additional Winds of Magic on you, because you're going to need it. I might even take away a little from one of these places. 150, 150, 150, yeah, they're all past 75, Alright, well, you're not generating grimoires in every other place is, so we'll do you. Just for that. There we go. And actually, that bumps the magic, or the money up anyway, so that's fine. And this way, you get plenty of mana returned to you. At the cost of attrition, mind you, but worth it, I hope. Anyway, you can now get greater locus, number of uses for locus of Tzeentch abilities, so I guess you get more locus of change. Effect duration plus 100% for Tzeentch locus abilities. Oh, that's good. Your locus of change will at least last a little bit longer. And we have a Cursed Horrors, so let's do that. You will also still need to get those 2 Flamers. I was actually hoping to capture a Flamer location at Dakasir, but we didn't. I guess we could possibly build one. I really wish we could... You know how you can see when armies are in a regular stance, you could see how far their march stance is? It's really annoying that you can see how far march stance is, but you can't see back how far regular stance is, because obviously Nakari can't attack in march stance, so there is that. Anyway, let's get back to... Oh, actually, you know what? The big thing, the big question, is jumping all over the map again, is... Did you get your Forsaken back? Orphans of Change lost to the Labyrinth. Yes, you did. Huh? Wait. Orphans of Change lost to the Labyrinth. Huh. I swear we had more than 2 named ones. Am I crazy, or did we not have more than 2 named ones? I swear we had 3, because I thought I named 3 of these guys in... Suspicious. If anybody thinks one of the names is missing, let me know, because I almost feel like they are. Oh, whatever. You can be the hoodwinked. Let's name one of you so that now we have 3. Still kind of confusing me, but whatever. I guess it's not a big deal. Anyway, you're 19 out of 20, eh? Were you always a 19 out of 20? I guess it doesn't matter. It's just freaking me out. What can you build here, by the way? Just out of curiosity. You can build Marauder Horses of Tzeentch and then regular... Yeah, it doesn't really help. Now it will take multiple rounds to get down to the Circle of Indolency, but I guess, well, I guess we can sacrifice at least 1 turn of mana for it, so you're gonna teleport down there. Not beside it. I don't imagine these guys can reach us because they're gonna be slow about it, but, well, nonetheless. It will mean you won't be able to heal, but that's, I guess, fine here. Down to the circle you go. Palace of Slanesh. Do not collect income, do not pass go. Delete the Thaumaturgic Load, and I guess the many-eyed Tribute, and lose the oh, you don't have any mana anyway. Alright, so you're fine as you are, ish. And we will need Tzeentch and Corruption. Oh, it won't work because of, wow, plus 10 local populace. Okay, we'll need to super Tzeentchify the place. Huh. Minus 16, eh? Conquest next turn, so it'll be minus 6. So we can counteract that with the Foster... Well, not with the Foster Celts, with the Architect's Theorem, but it's... well, it's gonna be hard combating the local Slaneshi populace here, but gotta do what you gotta do. We've made it our business to conquer the realms of the gods, after all. Ooh, hello. Oh, that's not good. That's a lot of Celestial Lions. Man. Okay, that's a question. What's the best way to do this? Alright, first of all, Kairos, are you able to reach this place? You are not. And none of you are. Alright, well, that doesn't then change what we gotta do. You gotta get as close to it as you can. We could probably use one of the other guys to conquer it. So you guys are gonna wander close to it, and I guess you two will move in march stance. Together with Kairos, who I guess can probably go into channeling stance here. Yes. Alright, and then you two will actually also need to channel, but not right now. There we go. Wolf. And the challenge stone, you can... Well, I guess you could keep this for now. We might trade this, although it's a green territory, unlike the yellow territory, so maybe we won't. And oh! Maramanchur Groth, you backed off, rather than face Mahikal Rock. Okay, Mahikal Rock, you will probably want to get a couple of more pink horrors, but we'll wait on that. TBA, Veritas Painbringer, and Naman Chakai. You are moving up here, and you are following suit. And you are not following suit, you are out of range. Alright, so just go to the edge of this platform, far as you can go. Because it's as good as we're gonna get. What about you two? Alright, I see Nikari is not moving here. Hopefully he'll take those guys out for us. And oh, I don't like that these guys are moving around. They could potentially declare war on us and attack us. Alright, stay in camp stance. I'm just going to assume that these guys can't actually reach us because we're on the edge of their movement range. I'm getting a little bit concerned about moving out of here, though. You need to get into this army because it needs desperately the replenishment, so go over there. And you're metal, right? Yes, you're metal lore. Good. What else do we need to move? Mahikal Rock, you're fine. We can't move you for now. I guess we could build some other... Actually, there's something interesting that we can build here in this particular location as yet, so just stay here while the ogres are being dealt with. Karan, Manticool, go out here. And Jumathius Aglim. Go out here. I'd like to see the Oak of Ages, and I'd like to see the... Okay, so yeah, it does in fact generate no cash. And Kingsglade is generating less cash than Val's Anvil right now, which is kind of freaky, considering it's a tier 3 and Kingsglade is tier 4. Oh! Would you look at that? They never built their money-making building. Wow, really? They never built the winery. Huh. Okay, well then screw Kingsglade, then we're probably better off putting the cult in Val's Anvil. Frankly, none of these places are generating that much cash. I wonder if there was a better way. Maybe we should put one in... Maybe we should put the super cult in Bordello, but we don't know how much money it's generating either. Screw it. Frankly, it's probably a waste of time to just screw around like this. We'll just put it in Kingsglade. The extra 300 gold isn't gonna... Well, actually, this is going to climb up to like 1,000 gold per turn, whereas if these guys never build one, then they will never make a lot of money. Fine, we'll do Val's Anvil. Might as well corrupt a sacred location while we're at it. I mean, I guess Kingsglade is a sacred location as well, but anyway, let's do some building before I continue to get distracted. Temple of Mordig, easy upgrade to Infernal Citadel. Road to Damnation, we are tier 5, but there's nothing really that we want to build other than the Slither of Potential. All of this stuff is great, but it's so expensive that right now it's probably not worth our time. Yeah. We could at least get the additional Exalted Hero capacity out of the Transmog Locus. That's probably the way to do it. I'm just going to double check that none of these offer any faction-wide bonuses or any significant bonuses, and not really. This gives Winds of Magic, Power Reserve and stuff, and the ability to travel through our territory faster. What it does not do is increase the Winds of Magic changing or increasing chance, like the Tzeentch Corruption does, so it doesn't really serve too much of a purpose for us right now. Transmog Locus. Twisting Expanse, you are fine. Zamoski is fine. Dolganyar is fine. What about this place? I still haven't decided whether we want to invest in it. It bothers me that Golgi's monument will never be ours, but at the same time, we can still probably generate a decent amount of cash out of this province if we build the appropriate buildings. I'm gonna say don't invest in it yet, but we might later. Depending on how we deal with this mountain territory. Withered Eye Hold, we will trade you, but we're saving to trade you. Challenge Stone, kind of in the same position, but at least you can at least generate grimoires and a little bit of research for us, if nothing else. Yeah. And get the growth thing as well. Alrighty, and Great Rasputia and Kazak's camp, we are actually keeping these locations. Let's start investing in Kazak's camp. Alright, that looks good. Next up, I would like to see Unholy Manifestations again. We still have that Scriveners of Insanity, though it doesn't do too much for us. You could attack these guys while they're in Winded, but then you wouldn't be able to draw out the garrison. Admittedly, there isn't much to it.
To touch a
I wonder whether you can win this. The big problem will be the Celestial Lions. A, they have bleed, B, they have armor, and C, there are 3 of them, and between them and the fact that they are the Onyx Crowmen, we're going to have a difficult time. No Satang the Watcher this time. We do have the Marauder Hunters. I want to see something. You. Scholar of the Abyss. Wait. I assume that you wouldn't be able to reach us here, right? No, I would assume not. We could make this a little bit easier on ourselves by temporarily getting this guy on field, Corvum. I don't particularly like that Skull of Catan ability anyway, and this would be a good lord to eventually evolve to another Lord of Change, Exalted Lord of Change, I should say. Any ward save? Do these guys have any ward save on them? Doesn't look like it. Alright, let's do you. You're not the... I'd really rather have the blue fires of Tzeentch, but these level 1 guys probably won't be super helpful, so get the Scholar of the Abyss on field. You can actually get... Oh, you already have Gehenna's Golden Hounds. And Searing Doom. Well, okay, I guess you're not getting anything else. That's what you're going to hopefully just deal with. And if they attack, then they attack. Good. Huh. Vidamar's going to try to go for you. Alright, sure. Alright, the rest of this is fine. We are, I believe, ready to go and go to the next turn. We're not besieging anything else, are we? You can't move. Our money is dropping because we started to recruit, and we'll be getting a bunch of cockatrices soon as well anyway. We still need a couple of Exalted Flamers, but we can't do that this turn. Oh. I guess we should just halt in Ikari. It doesn't work. Only on neutral and enemy factions. Oh, that's not great. Okay, the other thing we could do is we could borrow time on Vizier Fateblaze and allow him to immediately attack all Rahim Dunes, which hopefully we can do. Alright, I guess it's the only choice we have. Go further, and then we'll borrow time. Like so. Time borrowed, and then you can go directly to Al Rahim Dunes. So what does this do? Wins magic power reserve, miscast base chance reduction. Yeah, sure. We'll attack this in a second. We want to level up before we do, just in case there's something we can get that's still useful. You have blue fires maxed out, which is the main thing. Let's get you prismatic plurality, and we probably do want, let's see, character or leadership. I don't really care about the spell resistance, admittedly. We do care about the replenishment, but it's the damage that we care the most about. Do these guys have a caster here? They do. So we could still get value out of Glean Magic. Alright, fine. Let's get to you guys some Glean Magic. And I guess Fires of Change. The base sort of spammy elements of the lore are going to be more valuable to us than anything else right now, and spam that as well. They'll have their time to put their points in other things. And then 2 points in Glean Magic for you, and then... and get replenish troops. Alrighty, you guys are nearly ready to go. There was something else I wanted to do about you, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, right, the evolution of this guy. Go to Pink Horror. And there we go. You guys can't become exalted as yet, but you're well on the way to rank 5. We still have this. Oh, right, you're besieging, so we can't... Oh, that's so annoying. But otherwise, I believe we're good to go. So, your time has been borrowed, and I guess we're ready to fight. Yeah, we can't do anything until this guy's gone. But this guy can't attack us, so we're okay. Alright, fair enough. That was who again? That was Vizier Fateblaze. Vizier Fateblaze, round 2 for you. Alright, here we go. Last battle, these guys had nowhere to run, as in our army had nowhere to run, but this time it's the enemy's turn to be trapped. A minor settlement will mean that they're going to have a lot of problems actually dealing with our advance. And they do have a tier, I want to say 4 tower here, ready to fire away at us. Actually, tier 3 tower, but whatever. It's a nothing tower now as it gets obliterated by concentrated fire from all of the pink horrors. Plus, we do have the bonus range. We're at 194 on these guys, and, well, they're effectively just as long-ranged as archers now, meaning they can fire right at so many of the enemies within the settlement. And the enemy will obviously attempt to approach us, but it doesn't look like they're going to be capable of doing so too super well. Yeah, definitely situations like this, though, which is certainly another possibility for getting a couple of those units of Exalted Flamers in this army. As putting one down the choke point to apply Warp Flame to the enemy and dish out damage to blobs like this would be really helpful in this army. And more fire weakness, can't say no to that, especially since the pink horror, or the iridescent horrors that we have here, those guys are... I don't think any of the ones in this particular army have volatile flames, so it is what it is. We kind of, you know, sort of just got them on field. Ah, look at all those pink fire blasts, though. Gotta love the fireworks from this army, if nothing else. Of course, considering the sheer amount of units firing at them, it is taking a long time to bring down even a single unit of skeletons. That I will readily admit. But as we evolve these guys and they become exalted and hopefully they get more red line buffs and stuff, hopefully they will become sufficiently stronger so that it doesn't take quite as long to melt away a single unit of skeleton warriors. On the bright side, though, it's always fun to fight with underdog armies, so I think we'll get plenty of enjoyment out of this one through the course of the campaign. Anyway, looks like the enemy have led some bats towards, the bats have given chase to the iridescent horrors up in the sky, but alas, moving towards the massive pile of pink horrors will sort of not allow them to achieve anything. We can even probably stay still, and that might even make it easier for us to hit the bats up in the sky, rather than just directly running away, because it seems like the bats really wanted our lord and heroes, and didn't decide to land upon our missile infantry line. Alright, well, those units are cleared. Time to head into the enemy settlement, maybe move forward, drop a couple spells. Gehenna's Golden Hounds overcast in the middle of a sort of a small choke point here. Best place to use that, especially if we can knock out those Karen rates, as we've seen how annoying they were in the previous fight. And it looks like one unit is destroyed, the other one is only clipped, but, well, we can do more damage to it, while the regular fire blast focus down those crypt horrors. Too bad we can't have an undead ally and get crypt horrors and pink and blue and whatever horrors. Just all horrors. Alright, and it looks like the enemy's having a rather difficult time moving towards us. They do have a black coach around, though, and we're definitely going to want to knock that thing down rather than the big old ghoulies, so this one's going to be the focus. That's alright, though. It's nearly done for. It got hit by an overcast blue fires and a few fire blasts from these guys, and I don't think it's going to achieve too much more. Oh, wow, what the heck are you guys aiming at? What is this? Did even a single shot land on that? Not that it matters over much, but the principle of the thing. Either way, the black coach is melting away. The remnants of the crypt horrors attempt to charge our line, but our cultist, our own one and only cultist here to provide kindle flame and a blazing sword of ruin, or flaming sword of ruin, countercharge the ghouls. Just for a second, of course, he can't stay in combat. He just charges, loses his barrier, and then backs off. And it does look like we've got more enemy units moving in, so we're going to move back towards our line with our lords and heroes so that we can activate the Locus of whatever. Locus of Change plus the Flaming Sword of Ruin, bumping our missile strength up with those two together up to 76, which is okay. It's actually, considering the amount of buffs we get there, it's still not anything crazy. Again, in the Dwarfs campaign, we have 100 and whatever... 100 plus damage on the Slayer Pirates pistols, and they're a lot more capable than melee as well, which is kind of interesting. Granted, we've super buffed those guys, but nonetheless, gotta keep buffing our own horrors in this army as well, see what heights we can take them to. Anyway, the balance power is at about 90% in our favor now, and the enemy's lost most of their elites. They will continue to attempt to charge forth, but I imagine meeting with no more success here than they have so far. And at this point, we've also essentially backed off our lords and heroes just to hover over the army and drop those buffs of theirs. That Locus of Change to just keep everybody buffed up and doing a teensy bit more damage, especially in case we run out of ammunition. Drop a Gehenna's Golden Hounds on the Cairn Wraiths, but unfortunately for us, they just sort of move right through it, and it does look like a vampire has managed to reach our line. Fortunately, this will be another nice use of the cultist, and this cultist will stay on his steed rather than going on the war shrine, because he'll need to be able to back off with the rest of the line when we do our running and our gunning. Alright, and it looks like the enemy is in, well, reasonably bad shape here, but they activate the Face of Death just as they charge in with that Vampirus and those Cairn Wraiths and summon a pile of zombies on top of us. Zombies get largely wiped out by pink fires, whether it be the spell or the damage. Looks like the vampire has at last been defeated by the cultist, and the zombies are very much on the way out, just like those Cairn Wraiths were. Still, fairly decent pile of Graveguard remaining, still moving towards us from both directions, and we'll still have to knock those out. And interestingly, the Necromancer is staying all the way back at the start of the map, or the edge of the map, or the enemy key capture point. Which is, I guess, fine. I mean, he's not dropping Invocations of Nehek. Frankly, we could just move over there and blue fire blast him until he just dies. Wouldn't be a problem either, as we've done it in many a battle already with this particular army. It is still something weird in my opinion. Wow, nice charging from that cultist, just sending all those Graveguard flying. It is something a little bit strange, as I was saying, in my opinion, that the AI tends to play the undead like this. Like, it really doesn't like to send its support necros in, including when they're on their corpse cards. Like, you're supposed to advance together with your line to keep them buffed up and healed, and the AI just often refuses to do that. Granted, we do focus those guys down as soon as we spot them, so it does, I mean, it is somewhat effective in preventing us from doing that, but at the same time, if they're so far away from the battlefield they're not doing anything, then, well, they're not doing anything. Is that really much better than just getting obliterated? I'm not so sure. Either way, the balance of power is at about 90% in our favor now. Just a few more enemy piles of skelly boys and whatnot still ready to move on, and now a few on the left flank as well. But it looks like we've turned this into effectively a reverse siege, as we just wait here with our superior range and the enemy's non-existent range, and just continue annoying them as they attempt to approach. And while they do occasionally get into combat with a few pink horrors, to this point we have rotated the units a few times, as in the unit that took the most damage being the tip of the spear, or the one taking hits from the enemy, has been rotated to the back of the line, and a new unit of healthier horrors have replaced them. Alright, and with that, it looks like the army losses are beginning to tell, and the last of the enemy units are beginning to melt away. Yet another battle is ours. A few more fire blasts through the enemy last remaining unit here. A unit of Crypt Ghouls, who could not use either their stock or their speed to loop around us and take advantage of their sort of unit archetype. I'll love to see those fireworks, though. The bonus range from the Locus of Change is, well, it's really nice. Alrighty, and the last unit of Crypt Ghouls is about to go. Poor little guys. Don't worry. We'll give you plenty of love next time we do vampire counts. And it looks like the Master Necromancer is the last thing on the field. Couple of fire blasts, couple of blue fires, and it looks like he'll be melting away in a few seconds. And the game probably won't be showing us his defeat, as it doesn't let you see the final death animation. Come on. Man, while doing the fight, I remembered what I had forgotten to do, and it was to see if we had any more missions for our minions to take out this guy, though I suppose since we used borrowed time and it's the same turn, we might not have had any because they would have been completed against whoever we killed last time. Anyway, no problem at all. It is a minor settlement battle and the AI is fairly poor at defending those, and especially this army. between the speed and the fact that we could fill the choke points in the settlement with magics, the enemy, well, it wasn't going to be able to do anything. Alright, Sarah Desert is now ours. Cult of Mordig destroyed. We got ourselves a free Flicker of Potential here, and frankly, this is a decent place for it. We can keep it. We can go for the Web of Secrets and then double up on the Stygian Wells here afterwards. Let's start with... just keep up the architects here. We're already nice and Tzeentchified in the place, and as soon as the corruption of the vampiric corruption drops, we'll be okay. Alrighty, looks good. Now, since we didn't have to use Halt Army on those guys, we can potentially use it on this little army, which will keep Dregrar alive. And at least allow her to heal up. Let's not Trek Army, let's Halt Army, you. Like so. Alrighty, and now you can do nothing. Frankly, we could just get Kairos to go and kill you now, which works out well for us as well. Next turn, we get a bonus money, which we really, really need. Our money hasn't really increased significantly for a while now, and we need it for additional forces. Especially before we split these guys off into various different places, which we will still do. Also, we got 2 new blue horrors. Might as well name them. Man-made horrors. And the Blue Man group. While we're doing names, let's do, I don't know, maybe some Marauder names. I guess we have only one Marauder army right now, though that will eventually change to another one with more sort of units from our Maraudery friends. These Marauders are going to go away, the regular sword and board variants, but I guess you two will keep, the 2 spear variants. So you can be the Rave Bouncers, and you can be Manic Militia. Alright, these guys are going to be replaced by the trolls. I was like, wait a second, why did I put the Chaos Spawn in here? They're just here temporarily. You two will become Chariots, I presume, although, frankly, you've reached a higher rank than the others have. Okay, well, let's see about the ranks. Who's the highest? You and you. Well, honestly, the ones that are rank 2 are all more or less fine. Okay, let's name some of these guys. The Brave Sir Robins. I'm just going to assume that these guys are the ones that ran away like a bunch of cowards from a single charge with full barrier and full HP. Bunch of cowards. Skewers of Flames for you. And let's do one more. You can be Void-Stricken Volliers. Alrighty, that's going to be a mouthful to say, and there we go. Alright, good enough for now. Let's see, anything else we need to do this particular turn? I don't believe so. I think we checked everything, but I wanted to double check. Dregrad doesn't need to move now, and we'll just stay here. And I guess we're good. So, skip, and I'd love to build some outposts, but we can't afford them end turn. Alright, there we go. Creator for Vizier Fate Blaze Eye collecting bumps us up to 14k per turn. Still not enough, but a lot better than it was. Next, there are several things we want. First of all, we really want Way of War because it will give us the Force War ability, and I think that'll be quite useful to us as we'll want to try to put a few enemies into war immediately. Though I think maybe we want to wait the 1 turn just to get Fires of Change and the additional barrier thing because it essentially buffs everybody on the map. Oh, I should probably also get Locus of Contrivance because the attrition thing is going to be quite irritating and very... What the heck is this? Another Beastman faction. You guys have disappointed me, Beastman. Anyway, we got 1 more turn on you, which is fine. Oh, look, Jamming wants peace. If only we could vassalize him, but I've tried it in Archaon's, I believe, campaign, and it just didn't work. Too much hatred between our vassals and theirs. Anyway, just leave him there while he can't move, and you can channel, I guess. Wow, oh, right, you're losing mana because we took all the mana away from you. Yeah, fair enough. Alrighty, anyway, Kairos, you will probably not, just to double check, be able to push onwards towards Karakorsi this turn. Nonetheless, I would like... What do we have here at Blizzard Plains? Not much. We can use, I guess, Rel to attack this. I think so. These guys will reinforce, so you can go into encamp stance. And you can go into encamp stance, and then we can pop Karan Manticore, who has robust transmutation of lead into magic power reserve capacity. I don't remember whose army I wanted to put you in, but I do think that Aecold will need a couple of lieutenants, so let's put him in yours for now, and then we'll see. He's got to have room for Chaos Knights and a bunch of other stuff as well. Anyway, Kairos, you will not attack this. Rel will attack this. Will auto-resolve you. Right? Never trust the auto-resolve. And then occupy the place. Oh, lovely. Another Tzeentch Mutant, another Tzeentch Familiar, always nice. Another Potion of Healing, very nice. A Banner of Unholy Victory. 25% weapon damage on one unit if winning melee combat. Huh. Shield Breaker. Blizzard Veil, now secured, and then we can immediately go into Foster Cults. We don't need the Many-Eyed Tribute here, and we will transfer you to Citadel afterwards. Let's immediately build the Web of Secrets, and then I guess upgrade you like so. Okay, you guys will need to move in a second. I want to see what's going on out here. Alright, so these guys are still on the approach, but they will not be able to get to the circle. I don't like this place. They will not be able to get the Circle of Indolency. And did you suffer attrition after using the... Okay, you did suffer attrition, didn't you? I think this army was close to full HP. Am I crazy or no? Maybe they weren't, I don't know. And, oh right. This is gonna be annoying. Okay, you know what? It's a really annoying frickin'... Wait, they can steal the Banner of Change as well? It's a really annoying mechanic and I don't like it, and I'm just going to just cheese it because it's stupid. It's just generally an unfun mechanic. That said, we will actually have to fight this because we need to make our way into the enemy's settlement. Alright, fine, fair enough. We'll fight it manually then. You have no need for Speed and Malice or Malevolent Ranger here. You have Brand of Char, which was the important thing. We could get Aura of Chaos for the enemy leadership reduction. Frankly, that's probably good against the demonic units, and thus we should probably make use of it. You can go Tough as Nails in training for the additional... XP. You have Infernal Gateway, which we could probably max out. We should get Tzeentch's Many Glories, and we will. Maybe we should get 1 point in Earthing first, and then go into Arcane Conduit. Anyway, we're gonna do this fight because we've no choice. Okay, no more Steelies. Because, look, we have a minus 50% via victory over Slanesh, and we have another minus 15% via this, and we have another minus 15% via you guys, so we're at 80% reduction, and it's still just doing it. There's no counterplay, and if it steals Forsaken, I don't really care as much, but for the spawn, just die no matter how well we play, so it's, I don't know. Not a mechanic I'm fond of. It's not as bad as the Tzeentch mechanic, where, well, we steal your settlement, which we've been using, but it's just gonna make us wait to replenish troops or heal troops or whatever. I might just delete a few units out of here eventually if it comes to the fact that an army will win, but this army has no chance of winning, and just go. Alrighty, here we go, or at least here most of us go. So to compensate for the fact that the enemy isn't getting its unit of stolen spawn, which again, spawn should really be immune to that, Forsaken maybe, and even then that's iffy. But anyway, to compensate for it, the enemy will have stolen one spawn, and that will have deprived us of one spawn and given the enemy an extra unit of spawn. So what I've done here is keep 2 units of spawn out of the fight, and in retrospect, I guess in future battles we'll just, you know, withdraw them off battle rather than just keeping them back there. But either way, we're not going to be using them to compensate for it. I think that's a nice sort of I think it's a nice compromise without having to sort of adhere to the unfun aspects of that particular ability. but still allow it to have some consequences. Anyway, here we go. Looks like we're gonna head directly towards the enemy walls, and we've no choice but to climb, as all of those ladders will go up, and the Forsaken will take the walls by storm. It is a defended settlement, but the garrison isn't all that crazy here, and once we break through the gate, I'm sure we'll be just fine. Plus, the Marauders... 122 leadership, good lord. Those AI cheats, that is insane. 128 leadership? Man, we got 50, or no, we got 100, no, that's on the spawn, they're unbreakable. We got, let's see, 90 leadership on our Marauders, not bad, never mind, it's fine. And he still has a lot more, but ever since we saw those Marauder horses rout upon being charged with full HP, taking no damage, even not losing their barrier, I've been very salty about the whole leadership thing. But anyway, not a big deal. Just another little thing to overcome. Anyway, here we go. The first of ever Forsaken have arrived on top of the walls and are beginning their fight against the Marauders of Slanesh, though I'd wager the latter might not want any part of this. Forsaken should be able to overrun and destroy them with pretty darn decent effect. We have also moved towards the enemy gate, which is down to nearly half HP. I've been whacking away at it with the, also Slanesh a giggle, but with the weird spawn and with some Marauders of Tzeentch with spears. And slowly but surely, they shall eventually break through it. In the meantime, just gotta keep working on those walls and on the enemy Allurus, or Cultist of Slanesh, or whichever lord that we have here, which our own exalted hero has found on top of the walls, and with the cultists surrounded by the Forsaken as well, they're gonna probably have a pretty darn bad time. And debuffed, I would say, as well, by the Rock of Inevitability on the Exalted Hero. Otherwise, the battle for the wall is going reasonably well in our favor. The Forsaken have finally lost their barrier, but having taken out about half of the Marauders up here. And, oh, the Forsaken also have Perfect Vigor. I gotta remember that. It makes them a particularly good unit to ascend up the walls to climb, and thus dish out damage that way. Sort of in the same way that you might want to use your ghost units to send up the walls, because they have Perfect Vigor as well. Anyway, Marauders being completely obliterated by the Forsaken. It is nice to see the Forsaken shine in this manner, sort of in the manner that they're supposed to shine, as opposed to the way that we've been using them thus far. Also, time to get a little bit of spell work out, since we have been a little bit lackluster on that, and gonna drop a nice infernal gateway right on top of the actual gateway, which this flag blocks it, which actually looks pretty cool on the gate like that. The unfortunate aspect of this is that I would say, I don't know, like 80% of the unit of Marauder spears actually got trapped on the side of the wall. I told them to back off, but what they tried to do was, well, a few of the units that were on this side backed off. The rest are trapped there and just got killed by the gate, which is silly. They really need to fix the open gate trapping your units. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, the AI opens the gate and then some of your units move inside, but the gate isn't closed, but your units can't move back through it. Not a big deal. We've got the Marauders in this army as spares in case we need to evolve more Forsaken or Chaos Spawn in case they get lost. Or stolen by Slanesh, etc., 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 and then killed, but still, it's a principle of the thing. Anyway, the wall has nearly fallen. The Forsaken have done a fantastic job mincing all the Marauders up there, and by the looks of it, taking very little damage. Granted, we've been buffing them up periodically here and there with things like Stand Your Die, which gives them the much-needed additional melee defense, but it's still a nice thing to see. Anyway, with that, the bounce power shifts to about 99% in our favor. One unit of Chaos Spawn remains, still holding that gate against the weird spawn and our second now unit of Marauder spears. But with the regeneration on the weird spawn, the enemy is not going to be able to hold. So a regular Chaos Spawn have regeneration as well. Slaneshi Spawn do not. I take it Tzeentch Spawn don't either. Huh, no, Tzeentch spawn don't. It's kind of interesting that Tzeentch spawn don't have regeneration, but the regular Chaos spawn do. Although I suppose, well, I Nurglite spawn do as well, but anyway, I suppose if the regular Chaos spawn didn't have regen, then you probably wouldn't want to use them too much over the other spawn types. It's just weird that they have such a sort of good gift, fleshery knitting and all that, making them more difficult to take down than the Tzeentch spawn, which you would think might be a little bit more blessed. But anyway. It looks like with that, the battle is ours. Tower was just captured, and we'll blast away and kill off a few spawn, which was unfortunate, but oh well, not a big deal at the end of the day, as our losses were extremely minimal, and well, frankly, the Infernal Gateway probably did a lot of that work. Anyway. All right, there we go. I think that that's a good method for sort of leaving some detriment to the Slaneshi annoyances, but at the same time not well, leaving out the unfun aspects of it. So if we have one spawn essentially taken by Slanesh, then we just keep 2 spawn out of the battle, because that way that would be a spawn that counts for the enemy. We could just actually withdraw them off the battlefield pretty much immediately as well, just to keep the battle like that, and that will mean not wasting time. I've always hated mechanics in games that deliberately waste your time, and this definitely feels like one of them, especially with certain units that, you know, just disappear, that you don't get back when you win the battle. If they fix it so that you get all units back, or that certain units which should be immune, like spawn, are immune to it, that would be great, because a spawn has no mind remaining. There's nothing Slanesh could offer it. It probably couldn't even offer it more killing, because the spawn doesn't have enough of a mind left to comprehend any of that. So yeah, spawn should definitely be immune. There's a bunch of other things that shouldn't be seduced by Slanesh, but anyway, for now, shouldn't matter. We'll occupy the place, and province secured. Circle of Indolency. We will uncollect the income. Gonna be a while because of that. Oh, the local populace is only 3 here, so I guess it's only the Palace of Slanesh that has a ludicrous amount of Slaneshi corruption. And actually, out of curiosity, does anything here give us a massive amount of increased Slaneshi corruption? Seeing Stone does give us the all other types of corruption -2. Would you tell me nothing? I guess it must be one of these buildings. We have Tzeentch corruption +8. Oh, did I say Slanesh corruption? Tzeentch corruption +8 out of the Cult of Change. And is that it? Yeah, it looks like that's the only one. I guess we could... What does this do? Huh. And we don't have the anti-cult building either, which usually does anti-corruption, eh? Huh. Kind of interesting. Well, I guess we'll build the shrine thing then. Cult of Deceits. Although +4 and stuff isn't a huge difference either way. Well, okay, first of all, we'll build a hidden library that doesn't change and hasn't changed anywhere. It would be cheaper to build the Seeing Stone, all the other types of corruption -2, but I'm not so sure that that actually does too much for us. We'll need to actually build up our Tzeentch corruption, and with the -5, we can't... Yeah, we need to do Cult of Deceits first. Might actually even have to switch this place to a Dimensional Rift, though +2 really isn't much at this tier. Although if we switch it out, we'll have the negative control, which would mean we need a control building anyway, so it doesn't really change anything, does it? Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes there, basically. And as for the Circle of Indolency, oh, we got some wine there. Nice. You could go into foster cults for now and get a little bit of Tzeentch corruption in the Palace of Slanesh as well. Anyway, folks, with that, camera. I think with that, we're more or less out of time. And is that a Tzeentch rebel? Huh, interesting. We have Nurglite and Tzeentch corruption here. It's a Tzeentch rebel in a Tzeentch location. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, as I was saying, I think with that, we're pretty much out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here. Next time, we wipe out the Western provinces for good, though we have effectively already done so. And, well, since we've increased up to 15,000 income, I like to keep it around... Oh. Okay, you one army are not going to win this. Even against basic piles of skeletons, you'd need a strong caster to do this. Might have to bring another army down here. We were going to do so anyway, and, well, I guess, assuming Vizier Fateblaze doesn't go up north, which is kind of in shambles right now. There are a lot of territories up here, don't get me wrong. You know what, I'll think about it. I'm kind of curious as to what's going on here. We could fight some Skaven, although all the massive Slaneshi corruption might mean there's another Slanesh faction out there. I do wonder about that. Do you have any Slaneshi allies? Oh, right, you can't anymore because you're our vassal now. Okay, well... only one way to find out, I guess, is to go up there. And yeah, we'll need another lord to deal with this, as it's way too many skeletons for just a little Norscan army to deal with, especially if they're bound to rout at any moment. We'll probably send them on Chakai through to the Great Tree and begin our attack on the realm of Nurgle, and then we'll probably fight some dwarfs with Kairos, because we can't leave them here because they hate us and they'll attack us. And it's not like we're going to be corrupting them without a lot of investment, similar to Hashut. Anyway, stay tuned for more Kairos. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.